Hi everyone, this is Richard, the Legend Board Game Fanatic. Today, like I promised, we're going to do another top 10 today with around 5 notable mentions. Hopefully this will be enjoyable for you guys. Now this is the cooperative games that I think are the best that out of my collection, and what I think about them, and what the pros and cons. So let's get to the notable mentions and get through those, and then we'll start the top 10. So hope you enjoy it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video at the end, please hit that like button. Any comments or suggestions on any of the games, questions, interest, anything about the expansions, also any playthroughs that you may want me to bring out later on the channel, please put those in the comments. I will reply. Thank you for the last 2 people that subscribed, and I really appreciate it and the support. So let's get on with it. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Alright, so the first game we have for my notable mention is Sleeping Gods by Ryan Lockhart. This game has a lot of beautiful art in it. All the characters' art is kind of nice. But the premise of the game is that you're on this ship called the Manticore with the captain. Okay, here's a female captain. Her name is, let me see, make sure I forget all the time. Yeah, Odessa. Okay, and there's 8 other people with her doing traveling in the ocean, and all of a sudden they get in a storm. Well, the storm takes them to this place with a bunch of rocks protruding out of it, and they never seen a place like this before. And there was this lady that comes up and is on this stone, and Stacy tells them that you're stuck here. You can get the gods to wake up and get all the stones that you need to get out of the place, because you're stuck here for that period of time. So the object is to, I should say totems for the exact word, totems. And there's a story involved in the place. There's maps that we use. We also have a shipboard for the Manticore. And depending on, we could get damage on the Manticore, and if this ship sinks, we die. That's one way of dying. Okay, but that's basically the game. You confront monsters, you confront situations, you have to do specific checks for the situations that come up. When you're sailing the ship around the map, there's a chance it may come to a storm or someplace rocky area where you have to maneuver, and you have to do checks. And it's pretty cool. You have and you control a total of 9 characters during the game. Now, when you have you can play this solo. You can play this with 2 people. Up to, I think it's 4. Yeah, up to 4 people. And it's 14 and up because of the subject matter. But 14 and up. There are a lot of supplies, conditions. We got conditions. We have these tokens that are used for specific abilities you get. There's a market that you get certain cards that will help you with skill checks or combat, during combat. And the combat's different in this game than in any other game I've seen, because you use cards and you're wounding the monsters via these cards, and if you get all the hearts covered, they die. But that's the whole objective. But you have to place your things adjacent to where you're starting. It's kind of like you're slashing that area. So It's kind of a genius way of doing things. There's a bunch of cards, a bunch of quests that you have to do, and it's in this chest. A bunch of cards we haven't even gone through yet. There's expansions. We have the Ruins expansion, Tides of Ruins, and the Dungeon expansion. Dungeon, basically you have these dungeon maps, and when you find them, you go through that, and you go through the storybook through the dungeon part of it. So that's an expansion. Then there's also the Tides of Ruins that expands your map a little bit more, so you have more places to explore, and also expands your story. So this game is like 20 plus hours. It's pretty big. So far, I think I've only got one totem so far. I'm pretty sure, one totem. And then you have achievements. So yeah, I've only gotten the totem of deceit so far. So I haven't even got 4 totems yet. I couldn't find anything yet. So some of these things that you come across are pretty hard, and you need you guys to be strong, so that's why you upgrade them. Right now, that's one of my pet peeves I'm about to upgrade. But that is Tides of Ruin. You go through 3 cycles of cards. You got these event cards you have to go through. And the shipboard basically gives you the turn order. You basically do a ship action on here, and you get a certain amount of these tokens. May heal some people, may get some extra resources. You can get some exhaustion off your characters if they're using them for different checks or attacking and so forth. And you get like these ability cards that you can use for checks too, and add them to your roll. Well, it's not really a roll. It's more like using the ability cards to do the roll. And it's kind of like a random thing. Then you will get an event, and then you will do the event via with the card with the states. And then you get 2 actions. You can either travel, explore, go to the market, or go to the port. And there's a bunch of story. We have 2 books. We have the main book here, and then we have the Tide Room book here. So there's a lot of story involved. Plus, like I said, the dungeon storybook here. There's a lot of story. You meet a lot of different people out there, and you basically write notes down on your map sheet that you get. And it's a pretty big map. We haven't been through the whole thing yet. Pretty big. This whole thing is a big, huge map. And you would mark down keywords or something that would tell you what's going on there, or you cross it out and say you've accomplished it already. So it's pretty cool. The pros, the story is really good. The art is fantastic. The components are awesome. The gameplay is good. I like it. There's some gameplay of other cooperative games that I like better, but this one, basically, how many players you have, you divvy up all the other 8 characters, plus you can use the captain. Everybody can use the captain, and everybody gets a turn, and they get to pick what they want to do with their characters. They can also use their characters during another person's turn to help them with a skill check if they need to do that. But they'll be running certain characters and other people. When you do solo, you have to run all of them, and it's really a chore, to be honest, because I've done it. I will have all the videos of Sleeping Gods so far that we've done, and I'll put those on the description when I do the video. So you could go right to it from this video if you want to look at how the gameplay works. I'm not going to explain the gameplay here because, but you can die. This way of dying, I've died 3 times so far. There's a brutal mode and there's a normal mode. Normal mode, you can die, I think up to 6 times, and then it's over. And then I think the event deck, when you go through 3 things. I'm not sure if it goes back through it again or if that's the end. I can't tell you because we've only been through the event deck twice. And you always get experience all the way through when you get to certain events. So you get to upgrade, do cards, and get some experience cards for each of your characters. And you can go to the videos and it'll explain all this there. I don't want to go too much into it. But the cons, it takes a long time to play this game. And if you have a group of people who are playing this with you, it doesn't really matter because if they come back, you could just say, well, we're at this point, and you explain where they're at. They can go into the game and then they get their characters back and they play their characters. So it's not much difficult to set up the game. This one's pretty easy to set up. We don't really have an issue with that. The other games that I have that are a lot more, takes a long time to set up. So keep that in mind. And so that is Sleeping Gods. Not many negativities in this game. Except the combat's kind of a little bit hard. There are some events that are super hard. You come in, you will enter them and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, hold a second, I can't do this. It's not gonna, you escape, but you will have to improve your characters before you go back. That's why it's very important to write the notes down on your map sheet, so you say, well, wait a minute, I need to upgrade my guys better to go into this. So that is Sleeping Gods. If you have any other questions, make sure you put those in the comment section and we'll get back to you. Alright, so let's go to the next notable mention. Alright, the next honorable mention we have is from Fantasy Flight. It's called Arkham Horror board game. This is kind of like Eldritch Horror, if anybody knows what that is. It's a little bit different though, because Eldritch Horror has a whole board. This one, you have to make the board for whatever scenario that you're doing. Okay, so first thing it does is we got all these scenario cards. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what I do, normally I shuffle these without looking at them and I'll do a random card. So every expansion you get for this game gives you a few more of these scenario cards. And on the back, they will show a map on the back. And depending on what you have here, this is how you're going to set the map up. It also comes with a monster deck. You will set up monsters. You'll set up your mythos, bag or cup, depending on, and that's a bag, those are tokens. And those are these tokens, where are they? These tokens here, these are bad, very bad. This is in the mythos phase. You will draw one for each, I think it's for every character, every player is playing. No, draw 2 tokens from the Mythos Cup and dissolve effects one at a time. All investors do this in player order. So, yeah, so it's 2 tokens per player. So if you have 4 players, that's 8 tokens. So there's a lot of, some of these are really bad, like these, wow, they're bad. I'm gonna say, I have to get into the instruction again. I don't want to go into too much of the rules right now. I have that all on online on the channel, but these things, you'll draw them and then you will basically, and these will be set up per scenario too, so depending on how many of these specific types you have in that scenario. Alright, so that's what you do. You set that up, you set your board up, you also set your monster deck up. Depending on your monster deck, this is what holds the monster deck. So you have specific monsters that you use in this specific scenario. And then the finalized setup will give you some specific things you have to do. Alright, and then in the front, we'll give you a description of how to start, what a starting space is, and reckoning. If there's a reckoning, tokens in the Mythos deck. that comes up, then it will tell you what to do. It's kind of like the Reckoning on Eldritch, but Eldritch is done every round, so I think it's worse on Eldritch than this one, but maybe, I don't know, depending on how many times it's picked. Yeah, well, it is pretty bad because one of these is spread terror in each neighborhood with a deep one monster, so that's pretty strong. So I would say maybe this is worse. If you get that Reckoning symbol on one of these Mythos tokens. Okay, so those are the scenario cards, and these are all the. You would set the thing. You would set up your little connections to your tiles. And then you would set up you have all these special regular cards and counter cards that you will set up for that specific tile, that city. There's every one of these is like the Innsmouth Village will have its own cards. The Uptown will have its own cards. Kingsport and Harbor will have its own cards, and you will set that up next to each of these tiles and have them ready for the start of the game. Let's see what else we got. Oh, characters. We need characters, right? So the characters, we have 24 of them right now for the 3 expansions I have right now. 24 total. So there's a lot of replayability here. Each one has its own stand and its specific character description. And then you also get to pick, there's a certain amount of cards you get for that specific character, use abilities. So you will get those at the start. Set those up, and during the game you may get other things like items. You have items here, you have special items that you may receive here that they will tell you exactly what item you're supposed to take out of there, and then you have your spells, and you also have allies. Okay, so those things you collect onto your character. All right, it's pretty cool. And then you would also set up your deck of cards. These is going to be what's going to tell our story. So every scenario has its own cards. They'll tell you what numbers to pick from this. It goes from 1 to 120. So, and these are all from all my expansions. So whatever scenario you pick will tell you exactly which cards to take. All right, and you will grab those. So that's these story kind of cards there. We also have, if you have these specific gates come up, you will get these specific cards for them, and that would be an encounter depending on which one is for that scenario. And you will shuffle those cards and put those down also to the side of the board. We have a bunch of monsters, a lot of variety here, replayability here, and our tokens. We have our terror, or let's see, insanity or sanity. We have our damage. Where's the damage at? We have damage. So if you get your character has a certain amount of sane ability. So if you get more than what states, you're going to go insane and you will die. Same thing with damage. If you get too much damage, you'll die. And then we also have your skill check enhancements. So if you get one of these, you pick one of these and you get a +1 dice for that to roll. We also have some other special dice for the expansion. Some other tokens that we'll talk about in the scenario if we use them. We also have some more of the tokens that we use on the board for specific objective tokens. We have money. We also get to purchase money. We can buy stuff. We also have our remnant tiles that you get from other monsters, and you can use these for specific things. And then we have our clue and our doom tokens. The clues that we use to advance the good part of the story. The doom will cause us to bring the bad part of the story up. And so there's a chance we may win or we may lose this game. We don't know. But the stories on these things are really cool. It's based on the what do you call it? I keep forgetting the name of the guy. Sorry about that. Lost the train of thought. H.P. Lovecraft stories. And right now I have the Dead of Night, I have the Underwater Dark Waves, and then I got the basic set. And the amount of players you can play are from 1 to 6. And it'd be 14 and above because of the subject matter. And he says it takes 2 to 3 hours, and that's about correct. About 2 to 3 hours. And so that basically you travel around the board investigating. You have these guys investigating. You take skill checks using dice. You get a 5 or 6 that passes. And if you have bless, then you can do a 4, 5, and 6. Just a few rules. And everybody will get a reference card to start. You have your player's actions on one side, and then the round action on the other. For example, action phase, you get to perform 2 actions. Monster phase, so if there's any monsters on there with a ready monster, the engaged monster will deal damage, and each exhausted monster readies. And then encounter phase, everybody draws and resolves 1 encounter from whatever space they're on. And then we do the mythos phase and we go back around again. So there's a lot of rules on this game, especially with the Doom, because if there's too many Doom in one area, it may cause you to get one of these gates, and that could cause a lot of problems because you can't get the clues out of there. You have to take that off and clear all the Doom off that specific area before you can take this off. And as you take it off, then you can start doing the clues. So it's kind of like a little bit like Pandemic a little bit, because it will multiply after a while, multiply. So you need to really determine who's going where, who's got the strength for getting the Doom off, who's good at the clues, who's good at fighting and so forth. And you'll tell that by the description of your character on your card. So you'll discuss and get some type of strategy involved with all the players, and hopefully you'll pass it. It's just kind of like Eldritch Horror. It's the same thing a little bit, but the rules are totally different than the Eldritch game. In some ways, I like this game, but Eldritch Horror is much different. I kind of like it a little bit better. It's more streamlined, but this one, you can feel the tension. You can feel the tension, I'm telling you. I love it. So the way they set up, all the Fantasy Flight games have always been good quality, and this is one of the ones I really enjoy a lot. Like I said, pros, replayability is one. Art is another. Art is great. Variety of items and monsters and story and all that. Yes, number one. A bunch of variable characters you can play. You don't know what you're going to have during every game. It's going to change, and you will play differently every game when you have a different character. The cons sometimes can be frustrating because you may lose and but I always tell you, it doesn't matter if you lose. It's still a good game. It's fun. You got that tension. You're trying to beat it. And if you can beat it, that's awesome. If you don't beat it, it's okay, because majority of the time you're not going to beat it. I'll tell you right now, majority of the time you will not. It's for enjoyment. It's used to try to get through it with a bunch of people. And if you do, congratulations. That's all I can say. All right, so that is the next notable mention that I have. And we have 3 more left, and then we'll go to the top 10. Alright, my next notable mention is, of course, Gloomhaven from Subaffair, from Isaac Childress. This is one of the first biggest boxes I ever got. A lot of stuff in this game. You can see a lot of the stuff. A lot of stuff going on here. We got a map with all our stickers. This is a legacy game. So far, just so you know, the only characters I've played so far, I'm playing these right now. One of these is about to retire. I need 3 monsters to kill before I get that. This one I've played ever since it started. It still has a bunch of guys I still have to kill. This is insane. This guy has been around forever. He's the maximum level. So, and then this guy retired. He already retired like maybe 6 months ago. So I haven't played him for a while. These are all still not open. I don't even know what kind of characters these are. These are open, but I haven't played them yet. The playability of this game is insane. Okay, this game has a total, I think of, let me see how many scenarios this thing has. Total of 95 scenarios. I've been through a lot of them already. Still trying to retire my Tinkerer. I still haven't had a chance to do that. A lot of tiles, a lot of stuff to put on the board, a lot of things that, a lot of monsters, a lot of different characters that I haven't seen yet, a lot of cards, a lot of grades, a lot of monsters I haven't seen combat yet. It's a great game. I think it's more fun with more than one player. Being solo, it's kind of hard because I do have to play 2 players, and then I had to add 1 level to it, so it's kind of makes it more difficult. With 2 or 3 players, it's better for me because we can at least concentrate on one guy. But yeah, it's a big game, and I also have Frosthaven. And that's even, I haven't just done the first episode of that. I haven't even started that game. So, but that's a way bigger game than this one. Because you also have the village and you have to upgrade the village and everything. I haven't even started doing that yet. So, it's a game where you go to different scenarios. You have monsters to attack. You may have to kill all of them. You may have to open all the doors. You may have to initialize a mechanical thing that stops the game. It depends on what scenario you're on. But they are hard. They get harder and harder every time. You really need to think on your cards. You have to pick your cards before it starts. So you get a number of cards per character. Some have 10, some have 12. And you have a top and bottom mechanic where you can pick one or the other, and if you have to have initiative, the number of initiatives on the cards, so you have to figure out what initiative you want to use before you flip the cards over, and then after that, then you can use either the top and bottom of each card, so you have 2 cards total that's used per round. So and that's your lifeline. So when you use a card, you put it in your discard pile, or if you use a more powerful spell, or powerful attack, it may go in your lost pile that you can't use anymore. So it depends on how many cards you have left, and when you get exhausted, you can't play that character anymore. So the next other player has to keep going to accomplish it, or you lose it, and then you have to start over from scratch from the same scenario that you just did. So that is the game. Basically, you pick and choose scenarios and you split it, you make decisions, and it's like any other campaign game. You're going to split. You may not see every single scenario, so you start from scratch again. You may go back and start from the first one, and you can spread out to a different one. So it depends on what character you have and so forth. Otherwise, pros, a lot of replayability here. A lot of stuff. It's pretty exciting when you play because you want to accomplish it. You're trying to battle. You're trying to figure out how you can do each attack and be the most powerful. There's a lot of learning involved in the game. At first, I think that's one of the cons. It is hard to learn the game at first. You really need to. It's practice. Practice makes perfect, I guess you could say. And major con about this game is putting this away. There's a lot of stuff you have to put in this box, and there's a specific way to have how to pick it. Luckily, I bought these little containers that was separate, and then I got a instructions right here to show me how I put this stuff in, and it fits in perfectly. So that's pretty good. Otherwise, it's not many negatives. It keeps changing. I still have a bunch of quests on the board here. Some of the stuff I can't do because of the way I went on the path. There's certain ones I can't do. But the group that I'm playing with my nephews, we could go into those things probably, because we don't have to worry about that. We'd have to figure out how we want to get to those. Some of those, whenever one's accomplished, you can't really go into one if it's in campaign level. So like other groups have to go to different scenarios. So that's basically how it works out. So otherwise, that is Gloomhaven. I like it, and hopefully I can retire my tinker very soon. I will put all of my Gloomhaven videos on this on the details on my thing, so you could from the first game through all the scenarios that I did on YouTube. Not all of them are going to be there, but some of them will be there. And then let's go on to the next one. All right, I will have to put this stuff away though first. So let me maybe take me some time, but then we'll get into the next game. All right, the next notable mention is Descent 3rd Edition, Legend of the Dark, and this is Act 1. Act 2 is out now. Haven't played that yet. Still finishing Act 1 right now. It is a app-based game. You have to have the app to play it because it tells you the story. There's things you have to maneuver and ask questions. You have to pick which one you want. It changes the story, whatever your decisions are made. It has 3-dimensional pieces, stairwells and stuff, so you're making this diorama of your campaign that you're doing, the episode that you're doing. It's pretty awesome. And we have a bunch of miniatures for all the monsters. They're all in here, a bunch of miniatures. And we have special type dice for all the characters. It depends on what character you have. We're using blue, orange, black dice. And the black dice will also be used for skill checks. These are the life counters, so you make sure you move these around for life. The difference between the 2nd edition and the 3rd edition is this. Basically, you have one side, and it will have a special ability on this side, and you will start putting stamina on here. Now, there's a way of flipping these. When you flip them, you take all the tokens that you have, all your conditions, all the stamina that you have on here, flip it over, it's all gone, disappears. And you start fresh with this one. And then this one has a different ability on it. So that's how you would start that. And I think they have the same dice, yes they do. And this one, basically, if you look, this one had 3 stamina, this only has 1. So there's some chances that you may only get 1 stamina and that's it. You can't put any more stamina on this card. So you need to be careful about that. You will get conditions when you get wounded, and they're in here. You also get different skills. You get more abilities while you're upgrading, and you will get the app will keep a track of all that stuff, and also your special items and stuff like that will be also tracked in the app. There's a bunch of items they can use in this game. The story is pretty interesting. The first part of it is kind of an intro, first few episodes, because you're going through each character's little knit story, meeting people that they know. Haven't really got into a spot where it was already all fully explained yet. So did a bunch of these already. Pretty good game. I love it. I haven't played this with my nephews yet. We've played second edition before. I like the mechanisms. The story is somewhat good. I think it's pretty good. The art is okay. I'm not really into the Madeira. I got Madeira, so I don't really care about the art. Madeira. Some of the Madeira art is really nice, it's because of the drawings in the book and stuff. But the anime, I'm really not into that type of stuff. But I like the mechanisms of the cards, and you can put stamina on the skill cards too, and also on your weapons, so we could divvy up that stamina around, and then you can start flipping cards and maneuvering around. That's pretty cool. Plus, there's special things that come up through the app that are pretty interesting. You get you get all these different resources. When you get all these resources, you can start when you get to the city. You can start crafting different items and getting different cards out of the stats that we have, and that's pretty cool. I like the crafting aspect of it, and also upgrading your characters and upgrading your weapons and so forth like that. Pretty cool. Let's see, any cons? Well, I mean, to me it's the app. A con, you have to use an app, and some of these games I have, you have to use apps. Sometimes you forget, sometimes it glitches, and then you have to go back and start from where you left off. So it's kind of that's the only thing I don't like about the apps type driven games, because you may have some glitch and then you have to start from one point that you already started from. But they're fixing them, and I think it's gotten flown pretty good now. It's not as bad as it used to be when it first came out. So I don't have that many complaints about the game. I always like the quality of the Fantasy Flight games, the stories they put out, and everything else. This one's different, way different than Descent Second Edition. I think Second Edition, I'll explain it when it comes out here. It's different. I mean, the story's somewhat different. This one has some comedy in it. It's not totally serious. But the Descent Second Edition is somewhat serious, and there's so many expansions in the second edition you can buy. I bought a bunch of them already. You also buy heroes. You can buy different cards that will be put into the overload cards, and really like the aspect of the overload cards, because I use a specific variant for that so I can play while I'm playing with my nephews. So I like that aspect of the game. But this one follows an app, and everything's pretty streamlined. I think it's pretty streamlined. It's pretty cool. So, and if anybody gets killed or anything, you basically lose the episode. You keep going. So that is going to affect the next one you come to. So that's the one good thing about it. You don't have to worry about going back through the same episode again. All right, and it's not like Gloomhaven, like the last one I showed you, where you have to complete that one to get to the next one. If you don't have any other episodes, scenarios that you can do, you're gonna have to do that one before you go to the next one, because some of them require that one to be done. So, it's just that way. But I love the trees. I love all this. It's kind of cool having a third dimensional type thing on the table. It does take some table space, but and plus the inlays are pretty cool. The inlays, we have the things, and you got like water. You can have water. You can put like water here, and it looks like underneath it you put water here, and then you put this one over this side. And so it looks like there's water in between them. So the inlays go underneath, or they can go on top. It depends on how it's set up, and the app will show you how to do it. But the inlays are pretty cool too. They have that, poison, spikes, and fire, flames. So it's pretty cool. I like that too. Yeah, but I think the only negativity of the thing is is sometimes the app could be glitchy, and the story could have been a little bit better. I don't know how the second act is, but there are some campaign games that I do that the story is a lot better, and I'll explain that later on as my top 10 what they are. So, but otherwise, that is Ascent Legend of the Dark 3rd edition. I hope you watch the videos of this one. I got a bunch of them. I'll put those on the description also. And let's go on to the last notable mention so we can get to number 10. And the last notable mention I have is the Ascent 2nd edition. This is one of my favorite Ascent game. I'll tell you why. The reason why is a board game. You do not have an app for it. You have characters, of course, a bunch of them. I'm not sure how many I have. I got a bunch of them. And it came from all the expansions. So I have like, figure around 9, 10 expansions. 2 of them are separate adventures. They don't even belong to any of these expansions here. This just makes the place larger. The basic set comes with the main campaign that I'm using right now, and that one uses every single expansion, and I will have different scenarios that come up during it, because I'll put one in between each other scenario that I have to go to. There's a bunch of map tiles. They're double-sided. All of them are double-sided. They have beautiful colors and art. They have the little corner spots and stuff. You have to put all that together. They have all the miniatures for all the creatures, even dragons. And the red ones are the more powerful ones. The white ones are the less powerful. And they have cards contained in here, and then a bunch of tokens that we use, and our miniatures for all our characters. So I have a bunch of character miniatures, and these dice are different. We have black and gray dice for our skill checks. We have green, yellow, and red for our power for our attacks, and the blue is basically our basic combat dice. So, and there's a story. Every single one of these has a specific story. I think the story is much better than Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven is a good story, but it's not, it's more, I would say, more a strategic game for each scenario. And it's not too elaborate of a story, I'd say. I think Frosthaven may have a better story. I really haven't, I only did the first one yet, so I'm not really exactly sure. But this one I really like a lot, and I like setting it up. And we do one scenario, then we go into, and basically after every scenario you rest, you pick up maybe some, you advance your characters, you may purchase, you may get items at the market, at the village, whatever. There's a lot of cards, a lot of items in here. And you would start at Act 1, basically you have an Act 1, and then you do a middle story scenario, and then it gradually will tell you which way you're going to go in Act 2, and then Act 2 gets harder, the monsters get harder. So, and there's 2 ways you can do it. You can either do it via the monster way. There's two variants you can use. By using other cards you can print out on Board Game Geek, and that's what I did. I got the Overloaded variant, and I love that one the best because you get to use every single card inside the 2nd edition that you don't normally get to use. Now you could also do the Overlord version where one person Overlord and the other people are the players. So the object is the Overlord is trying to defeat these 2 guys. So it's kind of a competition there then. A little bit like a competition. But I like the cooperative because it's better and everybody's going to the same point. And Overlord is like a Anima type character where we're just putting cards out and it's going to cause problems. And I like that better. And plus we don't use the app, so it's to me it's kind of more exciting if you don't know what's going to happen as much. Well, the same with the app, but I like I don't know, I just like the old version better for some reason. I do, just better for me. That's why I put this above Descent third edition. But I like both of them. I love them. Both are made by Fantasy Flight. So the cons, it takes some time to set up. Just like with Gloomhaven, it takes time to set up the boards. It also takes time to put it away because I have so much stuff. Putting it away and taking it out. Yeah, you got time consuming. As soon as you get everything set for the scenario, it's very streamlined, and everybody's playing, and you get through it, and that's it. We're done. So yeah, I really love this game. I love the adventure aspect, the RPG aspect, going through different scenario, having these guys, these NPCs or people that try to take us over or trying to kill us and control these monsters and all this stuff. It's really amazing. I like it. I really do like it. But I don't know if you could buy this anymore. Descent second edition, you may. Some of these items are expensive. There is one expansion I want to get, but I couldn't get it because it was sold out. I need to look again online to see if I can still get it and get it for at least less expensive, because it was like way overpriced before, and I'm not going to pay that much for that. So there's only one. I think it's the chain gets rusted or some, I forget exactly what the name of that one is, but it's one of the small ones. It'll get some more characters, some more rumors and so forth for us to explore, so it's really cool. But that is Descent second edition, and I will put my Descent second edition on there. Also I'll have some of the solo adventures that I did during the first part of my channel. I put some of those in. Those are really good. People really like those. I'll put that on the description also under Descent second edition. So yeah, that's it. So now let's start on our top 10. Well, this is number 10. Tainted Grail. This game is based on Arthur, King Arthur, and basically this area that King Arthur brought his people to was a magical area that had these statues. And after a while, these statues started dying off. So the darkness came back. And now the main people in this one town has decided to find out if they can fix it. So they went on their way to Arthur's castle to find out what they can do to fix it. Then we also have 4 normal people that have different history, and they are used to try to help out in their own way. So right now, I was on 3. One of my guys died, so now I'm gonna start a new guy named Maggot, and this is his player card. And basically each player card, when you flip this over, it shows you the starting, what it gets. Like this guy gets 2 food, 2 magic, and the characters just start with 2 cubes here, 1 cube here, and 1 cube here and 1 cube here. So in a way, he's stronger in diplomacy, excuse me, the word I was trying to use, more than combat. So we will have to fix that, because he's going to be attacking other monsters and stuff in the area that he's going to be going around looking for stuff and getting stuff you need for this problem. So that's basically the starting of the game. Now you start out with this sheet. You always get a shape sheet, and you have a place for notes. You have for each character you're playing. Now you can have up to 4 players. My recommendation is on this game especially, you should have at least 2 to 3, because one player, they have restrictions. So if you're playing one player, you only play one character, and you really need to be, it's very, very tight if you do a solo. And you have to try to use that character the best to your ability, and go around that way to try to use him. Now, Maggot's got a problem with dreams, so I have to make sure that I go to areas where there are no dreams at, because if you go there and you sleep that night, and there's a dream, it's going to be a nightmare instead of a dream. It's going to always be a nightmare. So that's not a good thing. So I had to think about strategy and stuff like that. So that's basically how this game works. Now the story is amazing. We have the exploration journal, and it's like just like the Sleeping Gods. It has choices and what you're doing and stuff, and it will tell you what page to go to. But there's also a back book of secrets in the back that you may have to go to also. That's not part of the main journal. Now each area, and we have cards here for each area, and these are just kind of where we're going to put our guys at. And they have a number on top. As let's say, for example, Hunter's Grove is 102. So I would go to 102 in the book, and I would start at the beginning and answer the questions and go through it. And at sometimes when you're at a specific exploration, it will say end of exploration. Then that's the end of your turn for that specific exploring action that you did. And sometimes we'll ask you to click statuses, and when you do the statuses, then it will also have, you go down from top to bottom, and if they say do you have this specific status checked, and you say yes, then you will go to a different part of the book and you go and do what it tells you to do. So that is the story part, okay, and that's one of the things I like about this game. Another part it has is these statues will have a certain amount of time, certain amount of rounds that they will stay alive, and every round will be reducing these dials. And when it gets down after it gets to 1, then you pull this out, and if it doesn't have a dial in there and it's ready to be reduced, then you will take it off and you will remove all the locations around it that are not connected to another menhir, and that's what they're called, menhirs. All right, so that's another thing about it. So there is a lot, there's great story, and it makes you feel a sense of urgency on every single turn you do. And I really like that part of the game because it makes it feel somewhat realistic. Okay. Also, we have time tokens that we use in the game, specifically from the explorations. They'll tell you when to use these. The red and the blue, the purple. Purple normally stands for 5 resources, and the reds are 1. And you have resources on the bottom. You have your food, that's very essential. Every round you need these burn of food. Wealth, it's like money, so you can use for purchase stuff. Reputation is like basically when you're roaming around, it's basically going to give you some of a rep to the people in the kingdom. Saying, wow, this guy is great. If he's got a rep of 4, wow, we want to help him out as much as possible. Now, if you don't have no rep, then maybe they won't help you. So that's what that's for. And then the experience, you will use that to upgrade your character with different cards. And the magic you will use for combating or diplomacy, or maybe some encounter will ask you need to remove this many magic, or using those resources for the menhir. And these will also be used for the menhir, all the different resources. Okay, so you have to make sure you have the resources to keep the menhirs alive. You need to explore the areas, and you will always explore, and you will always get new areas. And you have to try and find another menhir when you're exploring, so you can put that one up, so you can keep traveling where location that you're trying to get to. All right, then the one thing, we got a bunch of items that you can get. You also have for your basically when you fill all these these two areas up on these different abilities on your combat side and your diplomacy side, then you also have, oops, sorry about that, popped out. You also have these special other abilities that you can get to upgrade for the specific one. You put those next to the player mat, and they have like special abilities, like in combat. Whenever you connect to a specific key, gain one additional combat cube. Okay, then that's it. And this basically tells you the experience levels of each. I mean, it gives you the amount of you need to have for that. So that's another thing you do. And then also the secret stuff you'll get during explorations. You get secret different items that you don't know, and they're valuable, and you get to use during the game. The main difference between this game and any other game is these cards. Now, the diplomacy, you'll find people in certain towns that may not like you, or a certain situation you come across, and then you will do a diplomacy. And the way you do that is by using these cards. And these cards have links, and you will put them all together, and you will. There's probably going to be a type of table that you'll be using a cube to move up and down on this ranking system and accomplish it. When you accomplish it, you get a certain reward off the card. So that that's what the diplomacy cards are, and you can upgrade these while you're playing the game with experience points. The same thing goes with the combat. The combat, basically, you're going to try to kill the monster off by getting a bunch of cubes, and you would get all these cards. You do the same thing. You would line them up on the specific cards you're doing, and you would get cubes, and you would place them on the side to get a certain amount of cubes that's stated on the monster card. And you would see more about this when we get into the videos. I will have those posted also on the description. But the great thing is they do have references. They have one great reference for the order of the day, how you go through the order of the day. It also has a combat overview, how to do a combat. On the other side, it has the diplomacy overview. It's a little bit different. And then it got an icon summary, and then an icon glossary on the back. And also on the bottom of that, they show you what you can do with how many experience points you have, and it will tell you what you can get for that. So, really good reference cards. Alright, and also all the location cards come with a special ability normally on their card. You also will see numbers on the sides that will explain the other locations, and you will place them accordingly, and you'll make this big board on the table. So that's how you're going to travel. Alright, so the pros. The pros, great story. The ones we've talked about so far, it's probably one of the best stories that I've read in a game. What else? What are pros? The combat system is really cool. I like it. I enjoy playing the combat and diplomacy section of it. I think the tensibility of the game really makes the game really good. Also getting the food and all that, going to different places, exploring, you meet new people, you see new things. It's like kind of like a more full-blown Seven Continent. I think this is a lot better than Seven Continent in that aspect. It has more stuff to do on it. like I said, it's best to do from 2 to 3 players. The cons are, if you do a solo, it's going to be a lot harder. You have to be very strict in what you do. It is difficult. I'd say this game is one of the most difficult games I've played. But it is satisfying if you get through the chapter. Very satisfying. And the artwork is a pro. I forgot to bring the artwork on this game. It's pretty cool. The pictures of the locations are great. The different abilities on the cards are great. They even have art on that. It's pretty cool. And whole thing is, I'm trying to get through all the chapters. As soon as I get through the chapters, I can go on to Age of Legends and then go to Last Night. Those are the next 2 ones here in this box. So we're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not. I'll take it a while. But I really like the game. Cooperative is really good with 2 to 4 players. When you basically, when you want to stop at a certain point, you can stop to save it, and it shows you how to save the game. Put it in those spots, and then you come back to it when you're ready to play again. So it does have a saving ability, just like Sleeping Gods has a saving thing. You don't have to play for 10 hours, and you're not getting to where you're going. If you get to a point where you say, okay, we're ready to stop this game, let's play something else, or we want to go out and walk or take a hike or something, that's good enough. But this is a really good game. I like it. I think my nephews like it. They do think it's kind of difficult, but we had a really good time on chapter 3 together during our adventure, where we had this guy that was very strong. We finally beat him, and it was satisfying. So we're at that point right now. It's chapter 3. We're doing chapter 4 next, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens. But that is number 10, Tainted Grail. Hi everyone, this is number 9 of my cooperative games, and that is Sword of Sorcery. This game is pretty awesome. This game has a lot of concepts that they implemented into Mage Knight, one of my favorite games. And that's a competitive game for me. I had that in my last video. There are things that you do in Mage Knight when it comes to the things that you have on the board, and also the combat and moving. And also Madeira does have the same concepts with Swords of Sorcery also. When it comes to moving next to a monster, they can give an extra attack. So a lot of the games that came out recently have used the Sword of Sorcery concept a little bit. This is kind of like Gloomhaven a little bit, because you start, for example, the story's a lot better. I think the story in this game is much better. Let's talk about the story. The story of this game is there's these 4, I don't know how, I think 4 or 5. Let's see, how many of those are? I'm kind of curious. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think 5. Yeah, 5. There are 5. Okay, so 5. 5 of these guys who somehow got destroyed and died. And this cleric decides in this town to try to resurrect them. Well, he resurrect them, but they're still kind of weak. So the whole object is to get them back to where they were. The strong heroes to conquer the bad stuff that is coming into this kingdom. And that's basically what Sword of Sorcery is about. And there are a lot of expansions. You can see here I have Victorious Lair, I have Arcane Portal, I have Darkness Falls, but the main one is Immortal Souls. This is where we started with. And the storybook basically shows you the map, how you set it up with all the tokens you need to put on the board and get all that set up. it gives you a table for the story book of secrets that gives you some of the story. And they give you an intro story on each of these specific scenarios. And the scenarios kind of, you start at the prologue and you go through all the way through. And as you do that, then you go to the next one and the next one and the next one. It goes through the whole story of the Immortal Souls story. And then the rule book is kind of large. It has 55 pages. It does have a extensive. It's not as. Let's see, Mage Knight has an extensive combat. This one uses dice, so uses special dice with icons and stuff. And depending on if you're doing defense or you're doing attacks, so certain whatever your weapon has on it will have the icons on there, and you will get those extra abilities, just like you would do with Madeira or with let's see, which one was that? Descent. And a few other games. They have certain symbols, and you may get some special ability using those symbols, or a +1 or whatever else. So that's the gist of the combat and stuff. We have different level type of characters. We have from green, then we have the red, the blue, and the purple are the hardest ones. And they all have an AI card resembling right here. And then all these two big cards are for the big guys, purple guys. So, and this is how you follow them. Just like with the Madeira has their own AI. What other game? I have another game that's like that. Teneri's Adventure. They have an AI cards. So, some games take other games and use their specific mechanism, so it's kind of cool. Alright, so we have our character. You pick a character. The thing they say, the restriction is whoever's playing has to pick the same alignment. So if you're lawful good, then somebody's going to have to be lawful good or neutral. If you're taking neutral, it doesn't matter which one you use, but whoever takes the lawful evil, then the next person, if they decide to do a lawful character or a chaotic evil character, they have to do that chaotic evil instead of a good, because that's just the way it works out. You can't play two opposite sides. Neutral is fine though. Alright, you'll get treasures during the game, and it's a big book, thing of cards of treasures that you will find. We do have a stash deck that starts at the beginning of the game. That's where you're going to get your weapons that you're supposed to get. We have ability cards for all our characters, and when you advance, you get more. So you pick from these cards. We also have basic talent abilities that are used for everybody, and every other time you upgrade, you will probably get a talent, and you get to pick one from here. And it has to be specifically for your alignment that you're using. Traps, those are used when you open chests, you open anything, open a door. You're gonna have to take a trap card, see what happens. All right. The encounter cards are used as you take one of these at the end of after you attack whatever monsters you're attacking for your turn. You're gonna take an encounter card, and it will basically tell you what you have to do for the monsters, what monster's going to attack and what they'll do. So that's what the encounter card deck is for. Then we have our enemy powers, that certain enemies will have an enemy power. You will put it on the card with it, and it will tell you if it's 1 or if it's a 2. Then you flip that card over, and it gives you the ability of what that specific monster is doing during their turn. And then we have our enemy cards, and you will pick which enemies are going to be in the game by the storybook. They'll tell you which ones you can use, and you put those to the side of the board. And then we have a bunch of items that you can get from the market. And there's some locations that you can go to. If they give you a chance to go to the market. We also have event cards. The event cards are mainly used as our timing. So you have a certain amount of rounds to finish whatever you're doing, the scenario. If you don't complete it and you get to the last event, you lose and you have to go, basically, majority of the time, it will tell you to go back. Sometimes it will tell you to go forward, and this is what's going to happen. So depend on that. But that's what the event cards are for. And all this can be seen on my videos that I brought out already on my channel. But the story post. The artwork is really awesome. I like the artwork. I like the mechanism in this game. I like the way the monsters move around, kind of more realistic. You have the encounter cards that will tell you if what monster is going to attack. You have also the story. The Book of Secrets story is pretty good for every single scenario. Then you come through there, you'll get some tidbits of history, bits of what's going to happen in the next one. I think this is a little bit better than Gloomhaven. It's a little better than Descent. I like the story a lot on this specific group of games. What else? Anything else? And exciting game, I think. I like it. Solo. You can play this solo. You can play it. You have to take two characters to play if you're solo. So you have two characters you're playing, and you can go through it. So this one's a little different than I'd say some of the other games that I said that you need more than one player, because this one it's not that hard. It could be hard. It depends on how you do your characters, how you move. If you move too fast, you may have problems. But there are some hard scenarios, and I know that because right now there's one scenario that I'm stuck on, and I think it's scenario 5 or something like that I need to get through, and it's been really hard. Also, another positive thing is they do have a reference sheet. It's got the game sequence. It goes through some of the combat stuff, and also some of the criticals and stuff and specific areas, elements that come in. It's right on this card. You can just look right through it. It's a really quick reference, pretty good. But otherwise, it's a great game. Really not too many negatives, except for it could be tough, and you may have to go back through it again. Like Gloomhaven, some scenarios you will have to go back through it. But I think it's a pretty decent game. I think you can still get it on Amazon, and I hope you guys try it because it's really a pretty awesome game. Pretty awesome, I think. One of my favorite story games. One of my story games I like a lot. Yeah, story games I think is up there. The top, at least the top 15. So, but that's Sword and Sorcery. That's number 9. So let's go to number 8. Okay, number 8 is Lord of the Rings card game, living card game, I should say. This game has a bunch of different boxes. The old version, you can purchase the boxes. I'm not so sure that they will work with these. They do have some expansion coming out. I think in next month. Some other ones. So far, I've gotten the ones for the this specific edition. So I have the Angmar Awaken and the Fellowship of the Ring Saga Inspections. And this is a campaign expansion. So the Saga expansion means that there's going to be two towers coming out, and then we'll have the Return of the King also coming out. So that's what the Saga is. But the campaign expansion, this goes with the basic set, and it extends it. So we do have more cards and more stuff to work with. Now, one great thing about this game is you can pick any type. There are specifics in some of the campaigns where you cannot use these heroes. They have to be used specifically for the specific campaign you're doing. But most of them you can do, and they're all different sets, and they use different cards. So the one thing about it is you don't want to have too many cards, because you want to have enough cards for every individual character so they can do their stuff. And you want to be waiting around for a card to come out, because it's random. You're going to have a whole deck of cards like these, and you're going to shuffle them, and then you're going to take 5 cards, and that's what the cards you get to use every round. You also have these tokens that are used as currency, and when you purchase them, then you can play the cards that are in your hand. You also have the path tokens that basically, progress tokens, excuse me, that are used during the adventure, so you can advance progress into the adventure. And there's things that stop you, like other locations that may come out. Also enemies that will come out, and you will have to attack them. And you have normally 3 heroes per person that's playing, and there's up to 4 people. It's a great thing. I recommend. It's really hard with one person, I'll tell you. But I did get through one of the scenarios. The second scenario, wow, it's really hard. It's really hard. The second scenario, the basic set right now is hard, and I get almost to it, and then something happens. And it's random, because you're going to have all these cards, these evil cards, the counter cards that come out, and threat cards. And that's another way that you can lose, is if you get to 50 threat, you lose that adventure, and you can't go any farther. So you want to keep the threat down. You want to conquer those monsters. You want to keep your heroes alive. If you lose all your heroes, you're pretty much done. That's another way of losing the game. If you get 50 threat, you lose the game. And I think, and then also, so you have a special character with you, especially Manar. Let's see, is this Manar? Mendor, excuse me, Mendor. If you lose this guy, you lose the game too. So it makes it harder for you to win, but you just have to be careful and use him sparingly, I guess you'd say. But every adventure is different. All the cards you use for the all the bad cards that come out are pretty much set up for the adventure firsthand. You put them all on a deck, just like you do with the cards for the characters, the heroes, and it's all random, so you don't know what you're gonna pull out. Every game could be different, and it is, because sometimes I'll really have a hard time at first, and then I'll start slowly going along, or I'm doing really good, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 bad. So it is exciting. It reminds me so much of the Lord of the Rings movies and the people, and they have like the flavor text on all the cards. The art is awesome. Drawing of all the characters and the creatures, and the locations are amazing. I think Fantasy Light did a really good job with this, and they keep bringing out new boxes, so it's really exciting. This is kind of based on the Arkham Horror living card game. I like that game too. I just haven't purchased any more cards for it. It's one of my top games too, but I didn't mention it on my top 10 mainly because it's not. I think this Lord of the Rings one is much better and more exciting. So that's why I put it here. And plus, you can play a single scenario, or you can play the campaign one. That's what I'm doing now. You get a little sheet, you score yourself on each one, and then you try to get the best score at the end. So, let's see, pros. Like I said, the art's great, the mechanism is great. Getting used to the whole sequence, it takes time, and there's sometimes you'll miss something that you don't do, and I've done that on one of my videos before, and it's okay. You can miss. just have fun with it, and you gradually get when you get the mechanics down pat, it's really smooth, and it's really exciting, and you just know what you have to do. And you could always, if it doesn't work out with the 3 heroes that you pick, you can always go back and get 3 more heroes out of the decks and see if that works better for you. So yeah, so this is a amazing game, and it's very simple to set up, very easy to take down, because there's not much components in it. It's not like Gloomhaven or Voidfall or something like that where you have to put a whole box away. It's just a few tokens and the cards, and that's it. So that's a positive. Cons, it's difficult. It's very difficult. Some people may get frustrated with this game. So what I recommend is just get the basic set first, see if you want to do it. But I recommend it because it's really a good game. And with more than, I'd say 2 to 4 players is really good. Because you have a versatility of characters, you get versatility of cards, and you guys can work together to get it accomplished. So that's my recommendation. Being solo is really hard. You really need to make sure every move is essential to pass the thing. So and sometimes it gets really simple. Like the cards, you may not see any enemies for a long time, and you can get through the pass and get it all done. Hopefully that happens, but in actuality, that's probably not going to happen majority of the time. But that is Lord's Ring card game. That's number 8. Let's go to number 7. Number 7. Wow. Number 7. Tainted Adventures. This game is amazing. This is an old version of the game because we have the arena. Contest, and we got some of the miniatures, and I had to purchase them all separate, but they got some beautiful dragons in here that we'll be using during the game. We haven't got to that point yet, but got a bunch of miniatures here. We have a total of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different characters you can use in the game right now. This is the old version. If you decide to get this game, I recommend you try getting the new version. Mainly because everything is condensed into one box, and it's integrated for the Tainted Adventure system. I have both systems, Arena Contest and Tainted Adventure. Contest is more of a competitive, like battling against each other with different monsters or different people, and see who beats. It's like kind of like arena type thing. Tainted Adventures is a big story, and the story gets derived from the beginning through the rule book, through the city book, through the quest guide. A lot of information, and then the main big one is the journal. Very big, thick, very heavy. Alright, all this stuff is combined into a bunch of books, and it's kind of like more like Roleplay Adventure now. It has like a book for chapter 1, chapter 2, whatever. So you go through each individual one. It's the same similar story, but I have to maneuver through different books to do it. With the new concept, it's pretty much integrated together, so it's a little less I say tedious because you don't have to go through each book. But to me, it's not that big of a deal, to be honest. There's a lot of cards, a lot of characters you can use in this game. These are the specific, I'm sorry, I say characters, but these are the specific classes. So we have a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 different classes, and there's like over 100 different characters you can use in this game. So they're on cards. There's 100 scenarios that come through this adventure. You won't see every single one of them, It's kind of like Gloomhaven a little bit. You basically do the story. Through the story, you then will go to the. You got the quest book. You got the city book. You're gonna make your city even better. The city. We also have a map here, and a city thing that you will produce more stuff off and improve your abilities of your characters, and also getting NPCs that will help out. And this is the land that you're going to be exploring. Very big, huge land. And this right here is my book that I have for all my character stuff. So I have it in here. Plus all my characters, all this character stuff's in here. This is stuff that I have to do later on during the game. We get into the city function of the game, so we haven't even got to that point yet. Then we have a bunch of different reference cards. The combat system is pretty cool. I think they took some of the aspects from this to Mandera also, and it's pretty interesting. This and sword sorcery and a few other things. So it's kind of interesting. And they do have a quick start reference. It's pretty good. And then you also have your sheets that you use to record stuff. You will mark certain things that will help you get new buildings, new abilities, new NPCs, all that stuff. Campaign peaks and stuff like that. I haven't really got into that yet because we just started on the intro. And I have that on my channel so you can see that. I know it will be posted on this description as I finish the video and put all the playthroughs on there, so you can go right from this page. All right, but wow, this game, and it's got an AI system for the monsters here, and these are the monsters. There's hundreds and hundreds of them. I haven't used most of them. They have different abilities. And you have to go through from top to bottom, figure out what's going on. Same thing goes with your characters. You have different abilities. You have powers and so forth. So it's really amazing. So I did go through all this stuff during the intro, showing some of the rules and all that. So you will get a gist of how this is played. But we play on these boards. When it comes into the we set up our tiles just like we would do with Gloomhaven or Frosthaven or Madeira, and then you get started on the thing, and there's a whole story involved with that too. So there's always a story going on in this game. This is pretty awesome. I love it. The reason I don't have it as high as the other games because I have so many good games. I mean, when it comes to story, this is one of the richest ones. This one, and I said there was one other one I just did. Which one did I do? Sword of Sorcery is good. This one's a little bit more in detail than Sword of Sorcery, I think. But there are other ones that are a lot more in story that we haven't come to. And I will be doing a top 10 story board games very soon too. So I want to make sure I separate that because there are ones that I haven't mentioned yet that aren't part of the cooperative games that have a story involved. So I will be putting those in there also. Okay. But this one, wow, this is an amazing game. Prose, story, the art. The miniatures, amazing. Some of them are colored. These ones are all colored in here. My Madness box. Really want to start coloring, painting miniatures. I have all the paints, but I haven't started yet. Just takes some time, but I want to start doing it. But that's another thing in my direction. Hope I can do that. But a lot of stuff in this game. It doesn't take long to put it away because you have your containers. You just take them out and use them on the table. This is a table hog because when you start putting the monsters out and all that stuff, yeah, it could be a table hog. So keep that in mind. And it is complicated when you first start playing, but I think any game that you play numerous times after a while, you get used to the mechanisms and what you're supposed to be doing and stuff. There are some things. It does have a long rule book. This book is how many pages? Almost 87 pages. Not as much as Madeira, but 87 pages. So, but you don't use all that at once. It kind of is used through the intro, and it will show you specific things. You will read through some of the rules, so you get the gist of the rules while you're playing. So it's kind of cool. Maybe a drag on for the first few games because you have to read and know what they're talking about. So that's the only con, but I really still love this game more than anything else, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next few. The first intro, even the ending of it has a very big dramatic ending, and the second one does too, and I'm ready for the third to see what happens here. It's gonna be amazing. So that is Tainted Adventure. I think that's pretty much it, and I hope you've so far enjoyed all the games I've showed. So now we're going to go to number 6. My number 6 is Eldritch Horror. Eldritch Horror is a different version of Arkham Horror. This one I like more, mainly because it's got one main board. Travel around the world to try to find clues. Some of the mechanisms are kind of similar, especially the dice when it comes to 5 and 6s for skill checks is the same thing. But there are a lot of differences. Now, basically, the basic game, has 4 different monsters that you can start with, and you have to pick one of these during the thing. And then you would set up your monsters of what you're going to be using, your setup of how the game works, and how many clues and so forth. It also depends on how many players you have. Okay, so it could be from 2 to 6 players. So that is basically the premise of the game. This is how you start working for it, and it tells you exactly the doom level that it's supposed to set up. If you get to 0, then this card will flip over, and you will have your final mystery here, and this gets to be a lot harder. So the object is you're supposed to do, you set up special cards for each individual monster. You'll randomly take 3 mysteries, and those are the 3 mysteries you'll have to solve. And you start with 1 mystery, set it up on the board, and whoever's playing the game, object is get the mystery solved. The way you do that mostly is by collecting clues or collecting Eldritch tokens, and not trying to get insane or die. And you travel around the board. Now there's ways you can travel via trains or ships. You would have to have the tokens for that. There's a bunch of actions. Movement is one of those actions, and you can only go from one space to another. If you have a ticket that corresponds to one that you travel to again, you can have a maximum of 2 tickets, and it depends if you have a ship or a train ticket. If you get to the spot where it has a train, you can travel to the next spot. That's what you would like to do, or save it for the next turn. We also have our gates. These things are horrible, pretty bad. They're randomly, you randomly set these up, and you flip it over, and it will tell you what location is that. You will grab a monster out of the bag, and this is through our random stuff goes in. In Arkham Horror, we have discs that you would do for your Mythos phase. We do not have that in this game. We randomly do monsters, and then we place them out on the board. There's a few ways that can basically lose the game. First thing is the Mythos cards is their timeline, and if you do your Mythos and it's done with, then yeah, it could cause a lot of problems. You could lose the game. If you do the final mystery and it says that you all die, you could lose the game. There's numerous ways of losing the game. And there's also ways to build up your character via your We have a bunch of characters for the basic game. I think there's like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 characters in the basic set. So you can set, and they're similar to the ones in Arkham Horror, Mansion Madness. They're all the similar characters, some of them. They do change, and they have the skills on the bottom. They also give you your amount of sanity and how much health you have. And they also all have a specific special ability on the front. And it gives you background information on the back. And we'll also do a, in case of when you get to the point where you lose all this, you read the thing on the back and it will tell you what you have to do. There's a chance of you surviving. So we'll see how that goes. But otherwise, this game I think is a lot more streamlined. You have different phases. You have your action phase. You have your explorer phase where you either explore the city you're in, or it could be a research action. I mean, resource exploration. It could be a rumor. It could be a monster that you have to take. You would have to take care of the monster before you explore the space, because if there's a monster on the space, you have to take care of that monster before you can do that. There's a bunch of different cards in there that have different different scenarios. Some have complex actions, so it gets more difficult. But I think with one player it's super hard. I mean, because you don't have a variety of abilities to conquer certain situations. I think 3 is probably good. 3 or 4. That's probably the beneficial amount that you should have played this game. And it takes around 2 to 3 hours to play the full game. It depends on how quickly you get through the mysteries. Hopefully you get all 3 done, and if you do that, you win the game. But there are expansion sets for this game. You could get more and more monsters, a little more randomization. I really like the mechanics of the game. I think this is the only thing different. One of the different things is in Arkham Horror you have a you can update your skills and use the skill tokens to use for re-rolling. In this game you cannot use those. You can only use your clue tokens. And clue tokens are very valuable in this game, so it's very essential to remember if you need to do a re-roll, it's probably only time you want to do that is when it's essential for you to survive or to conquer something you have to conquer to win the game. The clues really are used for the mysteries and trying to get those done and accomplished. So but I think the story involved in this game is the same as Arkham Horror. The blended story, very exciting, shows attention. I think it's pretty exciting games. I like these games a lot. You know, it's just like you start slow and then all of a sudden they start escalating. But it's exciting and it's fun. And when you guys are deciding who's going to go first and so forth, you know, it's just a pretty exciting game for me. For a cooperative game, I think it's one of the best ones they have out there. So that is my exploration of Eldritch Horror, and hopefully you enjoyed the explanation. Hopefully you guys will purchase the game. I really recommend it. It's really good for 3 to 4 players. That's what I would recommend. 2 players, yeah, you can play it, but it's going to be a lot harder depending on what type of abilities and what kind of character you have. So we'll see how that goes. But let's go on to number 5. Well, number 5 is Role Player Adventures by Thunderwork Games. This is one of my favorite story games and one of my best favorite cooperative games. Mainly because this one has a great story. The first basic set, we have a total of 10 books that come to the thing, and you do each individual story. And it's based on role player game where you use dice to maneuver your characters and make characters specifically for that. With the dice you're making, you also get victory points, and it's a competitive game where you try to get the most points as possible. But this game, it's got a story. You have different stories that come up, storybooks, different maps. You explore them. There was an expansion that came out with a background story where you would get specifically for your character, and you would have specific parts of the storybooks. It would tell you to read a specific phrase. It's really cool. It integrates that character even more. Also, this is your character sheet. You got your fatigue, and you have a specific amount of cubes that you use for each specific ability you have. You get cards. The cards are specifically use specific abilities. You have things that skill checks and so forth you have to do via the skill books, and the skill books right here, and you use dice to complete them. The same thing goes for the combat. Combat's done that way also, using the dice, and you have different colored dice you put in a bag, and there's a specific procedure how you do that with the game. If you look at my playthrough with this game, you get to understand that, how that works. Then we also have, this comes with 10 stories. And the next one that came out was Kuplak's Secret. This is the expansion set. This comes with another 7 stories, but this resides 1,000 years before the story that you first start out with. So it's kind of interesting how, excuse me, how that comes in effect. The main thing I like about this game is it integrates your characters into the story. And the way it does that is via title cards and stuff like that you would have on your sheet here. And when you go through the story, it will ask you, do you have this specific one, this specific title? And or if you have specific keywords, it will go through depending on what your choices are. So it's really an awesome story. It's all integrated, very streamlined, very awesome. There are also an event book that you use here. That's part of the integration of the story also. So you will have extra stuff in there. A bunch of items, a bunch of cards you get, a bunch of monsters that you can combat. It's all right here in this thing here. A bunch of characters you can make. You can integrate your role player game into this by developing a character that way, playing the game, and then using that character inside the story. So it's pretty cool. And we've already went through the first 10. Really good story. My nephew loved the story, and we're starting to do. We did the first, I think the first story of this a few months ago. We haven't had time to do it anymore because my other nephew is at school, so it's kind of difficult. But yeah, it's great. I love this concept. I think it's awesome. I think Thunderworks did a great job in the story, writing. Whoever they had to write the stories were awesome. There's humor, there's action, there's darkness when it comes to the story. It comes all different types of aspects when you read a story that you would want in a complete history of something. So it's pretty awesome. I love it. The only complaint I have is when you do this solo, it's very difficult. And I think you would see that in some of my playthroughs. And kind of talked about it. That's recommended. 3 players is probably beneficial. 4 is probably going to be a little bit too easy. 2 probably gives some would be okay. But 3 I think is the best group to use for this game. If you have a group of 3 people, awesome game to play. You integrate, you help each other, you do all the dice maneuvering. Each one has its special cards to change the dice around and stuff like that. So 3 is the best, 2 is probably going to be the next best, and then too easy for 4. Player 1 is super hard. Really hard. You really have to pick the cards. You have to pick, hopefully you get the cards you need to get through it. It's very difficult. I've seen it already through the playthroughs I've done on my YouTube channel. So that is Role Player Adventure. Number 1 story. The mechanism is awesome that it has in this thing. All the items you get are pretty cool. The maneuvering of the dice is awesome. The backstory is really awesome. And the new story is pretty cool. I love the new story. I'm really excited to get into the 7 storybooks of that very soon. But that is number 5. Let's go to number 4. Well, number 4 is Frosthaven. I haven't played this much yet, but there's so many things going on in this game. It still has the same mechanisms for doing the battling and stuff like that. You have the village that you're going to upgrade. That's kind of cool. They did put some of the implementing of the monsters. They put them in separate baggies. That makes it a little bit easier, but still, I would have preferred them to have some type of organization of the monster standees. That would have been a little nicer, I think. Bunch of map tiles to use. They're both reversible, which is awesome. They did get some containers for all the different tokens. That was kind of nice. Same with the tiles, really nice. I like that. And all the cards haven't worked. It's got a way different campaign thing on it, and hopefully I haven't gotten to that yet. Also, the upgrades to the map, all the stuff you're going to be putting down. You have like stuff you're going to punch out and put somewhere. I don't know what this stuff is, all this legacy stuff. And then all your different stuff that you'll be using for all your different quests. So there's a lot there. A lot of looks like characters is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 characters. Using 2 of these right now. Started the first scenario. It's still kind of difficult, but I think it's better. I think Gloomhaven, same thing. 2 to 3 players is probably the beneficial amount. 4, yeah, it could be nice. I haven't really played 4 players before. I played 3 players before, and it was cool. A little easier, but 1 player is really simple. Hard. You have to be you have to use 2 characters. Plus the levels increase by 1, so it does make it a little more difficult. But I think this is pretty interesting. I like the mechanisms. I like the additions they added stuff. I haven't really played it much yet. I'm still trying to finish up Gloomhaven, but this year I'll probably start doing this extensively after I finish the Gloomhaven up. But otherwise, Gloomhaven is still one of my favorite games. Cooperatively, just been playing a lot by myself because my nephews think it's a little difficult. I like it. I like the cards. I like how you play the cards, and you can pick one from the top of the bottom for 2 cards. You have your initiative on it, stuff like that. And the cards on this game are different. Plus, you have a little more options. And they vary, so it's pretty cool. They did change them around a little bit. I think they took some of Jaws of the Lion mechanisms and put it in this game, so it kind of combined them together. It was pretty cool. And it comes with 2 books instead of 1. It comes with your section book and your scenario book. So you have 2 different books and a pretty big rule book here. But most of the rules are the same. There are some stuff when it comes to building the city and so forth, and getting resources and stuff that are different, and it's kind of interesting there too. You get your loot's a little different, so I'm really excited about playing it with my nephews to see if they would like it. So otherwise, I think the main thing is always in playing with the Gloomhaven and Frosthaven. It's really hard to pack this game. I think it's a lot bit easier to pack this game now with these little containers that you can put stuff in. It's not as hard as Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven takes forever. That's the one gripe I have of Gloomhaven, is it takes forever to put it back in the box. But yeah, so otherwise, I love Gloomhaven. I love Frosthaven. Hopefully a lot of you guys already played it. If you want to see it on my channel, please notate it on my comments. But I will have the first, I think I did post one of Frosthaven video out already. So, or two. So I will put those on the description also, like I did on the last top 10 video. I'll put all my stuff on there. So that is Frosthaven. So let's go on to the next one. That'll be number 3. Alright, the number 3 cooperative game. Getting close to number 1. Is Bandera. Started playing this with my nephews. They really like it. Has a lot of variety of monsters, and AI, their AI is awesome. Bunch of miniatures that you use. The boards are so beautiful. I don't know what they did with different colors, water, all this stuff. It's really beautiful. Kind of different tiles, really awesome. A lot of rules in this game when it comes to elevation, water. The water's moving in a certain direction. Each scenario is different. There's one that has 100 scenarios. This thing's huge. Huge story, man. This is the book for just Act 1. They're going to be coming out with excuse me, Act 2 and Act 3 soon. Really excited about that. A lot of different cards, a lot of different items you can get. Consumables, stuff that you can use, armor, weapons, all kinds of things. The different dice you use for specific weapons and upgrades that you do. They all have, each one gets more powerful and more powerful. And different terrain types, you have the different ones here. You also have different conditions. You know, your wounding, special things that you can do. Special abilities. You also get sets of powers, and you can change them around. You don't have to. A guy who looks like a warrior can become a wizard if you want. You can change them around. It depends on the story. There's a lot of characters that we haven't seen yet. There's only 4 that came out already, and the story is just so you know, is a lot of story. And what I do normally is I use the app on what's the name of that? Jeez, I can't remember that name. Oh wait, it's here. Foreteller. I use that because it's a lot of reading. I like to hear it, but I also like to look at the writing, because there's certain things that you get clues on what you're supposed to be doing, and then you get. It goes to the story. You get new weapons. Also, the story, you have like this little secret thing that comes up where you have to look at certain things when you go to do certain things. It's pretty interesting. The mechanics are awesome. The attacking is awesome. The different way you can make attack happen. You use different cards. All the different cards integrate together. If you can start getting cards that integrate really well together, you can get really powerful. Pretty awesome. So far, I think we've only done 3 scenarios so far, and I think we're on the verge of finishing the masked part of the adventure, where there's school. It's and the characters are kind of anime looking. I would say it is an anime type story, but it's interesting. I'm really excited to see how the story goes, because right now it's just more about the dungeon, and there's not much going on, but it should change as soon as we start changing characters around. But it's I'd say role play adventure. is probably one of my favorite story games, and that will be coming up soon on my next top 10 story games. Also, I think USA Vanguard has a really good story, and so does Tainted Grail. So the story and also Sleeping Gods is really good. This story I haven't really seen that much of it. The story is good. It talks about the characters, but it's not as exciting as, let's say, Roleplay Adventure. I can tell you that right now. But the mechanics and the playing the game is really fun. It's really great. You integrate together. You try to accomplish the missions. It gets really hard in the second one. The monsters are getting really difficult to kill. So just keep that in mind. My recommended amount of players to play, probably 2 to 3. 4 is probably still good. I can see the first 3 scenarios. Third scenario is really hard. I would say 4 is probably beneficial because you have 4 different players playing. Plus, you always have to play the 4 characters even if when you're solo, so it's kind of hard that way. I think it's best to have one person play one character, so at least you can just keep your mind on that one character. If you play 2 players, you're gonna have to play 2 characters. So it's kind of steers you away from all the things you can do, and maybe you'll miss something. So that's what I recommend. Otherwise, number 1, mechanics. It's really awesome. The story right now is it's like mediocre, maybe a 5 out of 10. But the mechanics, the components, the AI for the monsters are awesome. The different aspects of moving and combat is awesome. The items are awesome. Everything's awesome. The story, I can't really tell you because I haven't been through it all the way through yet. So hopefully it's going to get better. So we'll see. That will determine if I get Act 2 and Act 3. So I have to see. But that is my number 3, Madeira. Well, number 2. Number 2 is ISS Vanguard. Let me get some water real quick. This game, when I got it, I fell in love with it. You start out, you have a story, and it's in this little comic. And it's really cool. It gives you an intro of what it's about. And basically, they find this DNA strand that supposedly tells them that gives them these clues of another planet somewhere where there's that we came from. And they decide to build this ship called ISS Vanguard, and it starts traveling to this area. And right now, we're on our third planet, and wow, it's you have one part where you travel on the planet and you try to find out information, you collect stuff, you upgrade your guys, you find different alien resources that will help you fix your ship, make it better, so the next planet you come to is going to be harder. Maybe will be easier to get to. You'll develop other ships that you may come across, and they're right here. You also have a systems map that you use to keep track of where you're at in the universe. You also have a planet, a city, encyclopedia that you open up, and this is where you travel using cards and so forth. And there's a lot of cards in this set here. There's ones that you use for just the planet, and then also for the ship. We have 4 different people that we use for our different aspects of the ship. Engineering, we have recon, we have security, and we have science. So basically, when you go to the planet, you have some crew you start out with when you and you put those on your card. You get dice, and the dice will help you do skills and do things on the planet. The dice that change, you get to change them, upgrade them to different colors. Pretty awesome. And then all the cards will change too, depending on what you guys are and which characters you have available. So when you come off the planet, then you go and do your ship and you upgrade your ship. And this is another section of what you do on the thing. It's pretty interesting. You upgrade stuff. You upgrade stuff on your planet. You also put people that are injured in here, and they will get put back in your things after they get healed. So you still have you still get a bunch of people to start out with for the planet, so you can upgrade those people too. And one good thing to upgrade for the personal files, each person that you have available in the basic set has a story, and you go through the story, and then they have some. If you're playing them on the planet, then they have a specific objective to do. If they do it, then you get a special bonus. So it integrates the characters that you're using to play, and also there's expansions. For example, Deadly Frontier and Lost Fleet. As soon as you finish the first section, then we'll go into the next story that we'll, I think it's Lost Fleet is first and then Deadly Frontier. I'm not exactly sure right now, but these are two separate from the basic game, but you have to have the base game to do these. So, but otherwise, the story is amazing. This is probably my third favorite story game that I have right now. Tainted Grail is probably a little bit higher when it comes to the story, but this one is really good. So these are probably going to be my top three. I already told you Role Play Adventure is #1, so you guys kind of just what some of my top 10 are going to be. Then we also have a secret envelope we haven't even got to open yet. A bunch of stuff that we haven't put down on our thing yet. But I really like the mechanisms. I really like I'm so excited about seeing what happens next. There's so much mystery and stuff, and we got all these upgraded cars that we haven't even used and put on the ship yet. Pretty excited about this. So that is ISS Vanguard. Great mechanisms. Doesn't really matter how many players you play. You're going to play the four groups during the when you play. But it's best 4 people. If you have 4 people, it's great because each person gets to play one person. Then you have if you play 3, one person's going to play 2 players, and the other 2 are going to play 1. And then if it's 2, of course you're going to play 2. And solo, you have to play all 4. So it's kind of, to me, it's 3, 4. 2 is okay. It's pretty cool. You only have 2 people, so you don't have to worry about too much. But 2, 3, and 4 of the is my pick when it comes to this game. But solo, if I have to do solo, I can do it by myself. So, this is my #2 game. I'd like to hear some comments of what you guys' top 10 are. It'd be awesome to see it from you guys. But now we have to go to #1. So let's get #1 going and get finished with this video. Well, there's no surprise. #1 is Voidfall. This is my favorite cooperative game. Mainly, there's a bunch of reasons. First thing is, if you're solo, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, it doesn't matter. Each scenario is based on the specific amount of players they're playing, so you can play solo and not have an issue playing this game. Co-op is a little more difficult, mainly because of this board here, Crisis board. But in my opinion, it's a little more exciting when it comes to what happens, because you have to determine, you have different objectives you have to set, to make, so it doesn't cause you to get 3 of these tokens that are on the side here. And that, it's these tokens here, you got 3 of them. If you get 3 here, there's a total of 4, supposedly. I said 3 or 4? It should be, yeah, 4. No, it's 3. Let's see, 3. So 3, if you get the 3 here, you lose, basically. So that's one stipulation with Cooperative Game. Now that's pertaining to either one is a solo, 2-player, 3-player, 4-player, and each player has to do a crisis. So it gets harder when you have more than 4. You have 4 or 3 players, so 2 players. But each player needs to try to get rid of the crisis. Now they can help each other with the crises. They can get the crisis off, and it will bring the crisis back to the left side, and you don't have to worry about getting all the way to the end. So that's more explained into the video, the gaming video that I did on YouTube. So we'll put those all on the description, so you can see all those. Access them from the top 10 video. And I love the art. I love the tiles are very strong here. You got different tiles with different scenarios, and there's also different difficulties. So you can look in through the scenario book and determine which one you want to play. When you get, maybe start with the lowest difficulty, and if you beat that one, go to the next one and keep going. You know, and I'm hoping they will have some, I haven't looked to see if they have any expansion for this, but that would be an awesome thing. More planets, more scenarios, all that stuff would be interesting. So, but I think the main thing is the mechanics is awesome. I like the mechanics. I like all the different technologies. I like how you add things to your planets. I love how you have another group of people trying to invade while you're trying to, and you got the Voidfall that are trying to take over all the planets, just not just your home planet, but the other person's home planets. And you're all trying to improve and trying to help each other at the same time. So it's awesome, man. It's pretty awesome. And you have a great choice of different homes, houses, I should say. Like in Dune, different abilities. I haven't done all these. I just did the basic ones so far. I'm going to try to do some of these other ones later on. But I think this is an awesome game. It's an amazing game. The only game that I haven't included in this list was Mage Knight, mainly because I think Mage Knight is better as a competitive game, in my opinion. I could see a cooperative game, but I like it more as a competitor, because you are trying to get fame points, you're trying to beat the other person. I think that's more my opinion. I don't know about other people's opinion. If you have an opinion on that, please put them in the comments so I can read them over and see if maybe I'll take another turn on it. But Mage Knight's a great game. I'm waiting for that Dragon expansion coming in. I haven't got it yet. I already ordered it. But Mage Knight's a great game too. I like it. But it's not my top 10 of the cooperative games. So otherwise, that is my top 10. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope you enjoyed the videos that are attached to the description. If you guys want to go back and see a specific one, click on the link and you will go right to that one. Any comments, suggestions would be great. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. One thing I want to bring up is I will be doing 7 Continent Icy Maze, and I'll be doing that next. And any suggestions of any games you want to see on the channel that I haven't brought up, or any games that you've seen on the channel you want to see more of, please put them in the comments. I want to apologize for my cough. I've been having it for a few weeks. I want to apologize that this video took me a while. It's mainly because I have some stuff in my life to change. I have a grandson now. Awesome. Spent some time with them. I've had a cold. Couldn't really do any videos. I kept coughing. You know, and just taking care of business and stuff. But I'm full force now. Hopefully I can get some more videos out here in the next month or so. We'll be getting some more games, new games out here. Hopefully in the next few months, you get some shipments and some surprises. So keep an eye on that. But thank you for watching this video, and see you on 7 Continent.